Welcome to Through the Lens of Astrology. I'm your host, Heather Arielle, and we are still celebrating Aquarius season. Yeah, we're two-thirds of the way in, so we have 11 more glorious days of the unique and independent Aquarius energy to, incorporate into our daily lives. And if you missed our last show, we did an oracle spread that really helped to bring in inspirational messages to celebrate the new moon in Aquarius. So it was a super Aquarius week last week, and you can check that out on my YouTube, Heather Arielle's House of Astrology, my Facebook page, or my Instagram at House of Astrology. You can see the videos, articles, and just there's a lot of information there. So, we're still exploring the one of a kind energy, but there's also so much energy in Capricorn. We got Venus and Mars in Capricorn. They're kind of kissing each other right now. And you know how I always like to make you aware of what Mars is doing because it's the planet of action whether you like it or not. It makes things happen. So you got to get into alignment with your Mars. So always look in your chart for your natal Mars, and that's going to really tell you the mode of action you are comfortable taking. And sometimes, we have kind of a very sensitive, almost passive aggressive Mars. Sometimes we have an assertive Mars. And sometimes, we have a all out aggressive Mars. So you want to get to know your Mars. And then through transits, I like to take you through what Mars is doing right now. So since it's in Capricorn, I'm going to make you aware of how you can use that. Because remember, astrology, yes, it's symbolic, but it's deeply personal, and that's what I try to do here. Is to say, okay, this is going to be in your first house, your second house, your seventh house. This is what that means, and then record that, connect with your energy. I have a planner. You can get my planner, you can just take some notes, record it to say, what does that mean for you? It's a little bit different this time because Venus, as I said, cozy, very cozy with Mars right now. And then we're going to do an air oracle card spread, a unique one, that's perfect to do with Aquarius because that is the element of air. All right. And it's going to incorporate all the air signs. And how can we really connect? It's, thoughts are things, it's the mental process. So that's going to help us to connect and hopefully improve our communication and help us to enjoy our ideas and honor them. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So oh, here we go. All right. I got my cards and okay, here we go. We got Capricorn, Venus, Mars. There we go. All right. They're both in that sign. Now, these cards are from my Oracle deck, The Fundamentals of Astrology, that I created with Tom Cummins, an amazing artist who's an Aquarian. Yeah. And I'm a Gemini. So that's a unique, whimsical approach. And I love it. So, okay. What are we going to do? We're going to take these around the chart. So you got to look at your natal chart. It's it has 12 areas of experience. You'll see like little 12 boxes, right? We call them houses. Okay. You want to get to know whatever style you're using. I use the Placidus system. You can use whole sign. You got to get to know what is on the cusp. What zodiac sign is on the cusp of each house? Okay, it's really important because that's going to give you knowledge on how to activate that area of experience. So I do it with Mars because I think it's the easiest for you to, if you connect with that, it just kind of, it brings things to life. All right. So I'm going to focus on three houses. So, say your Mars is on your first house, which is your ascendant and is your rising sign, we say. The ascendant is the degree to which you're rising. So, if you're Capricorn rising and you have 11-degree Capricorn on that means your ascendant is 11 degrees Capricorn, but you're Capricorn rising. And we have the 30 degrees of each zodiac, right? So there can be, it's 0 to 29. So that means anyone who has one of those degrees, you're all going to be Capricorn rising. But 11 degrees, you're going to be a very different ascendant from somebody, who has, like 26 degrees, okay, or 21 degrees, because transits will activate your chart at very different times. So that's the, where we get this nuanced layer. So you do want to know your rising sign. You're going to get a lot out of it to connect with Capricorn if you're Capricorn. But then you're going to want to know the degree to which it's rising, because that's going to let you know, well, what is really activating that energy right now. So, okay, if you're Capricorn rising, woo, Venus and Mars activating your first house. That's your, I mean, that is, as Sue Tompkins says, the front door of your house. It's like it's the energy you give off when you first meet people. It is, yeah, you don't hide it. You can't hide that. All right. It's your physical body. All right. And so Mars gives that tons of energy. And it's like, your personality. So anytime Mars is in the first house, I like to connect it with a very specific word, fearless, okay? Because it is the house ruled by, it's connected to Aries energy, which begins the whole Western zodiac, the fastest moving energy. Very, very independent, get out of my way energy. Okay, very competitive. All right. So Mars in there, no matter what sign it's in. So just think of, if Mars is in your first house, connect it with, okay, it is time to be a little more fearless than you normally are. If you're a very timid person, I'm not saying start bungee jumping. I'm not saying you got to, like, jump out of planes and do things like that. But you want to be more fearless for what that means to you. Okay. It's like, it's a time to take some risks with that. Now, we just had to give you an example. We just had Mars in Sag. Okay. Now, Mars in Sag is big picture. We get a little more optimistic, and we can kind of like leap. All right. Capricorn is not leaping and like, woo, jumping. Capricorn is step by step. Okay. It's the little goat that's just like going up. So you're going to apply the fearless energy, but now we're going to bring in the Capricorn. And that is also about being consistent. And it is all about individual initiative. All right, Capricorn. So it's really saying, be fearless in pursuing individual initiative. It is of the physical plane, Capricorn. It's manifesting in the real world, and I when you listen to Howard Stern, I used to listen to him all the time, and I still check in with him, and he talks about he's always like, about, oh, you're not a self-starter, you're going to be a self-starter, and I'm like, it's so, that's like quit. And he's got a lot of Capricorn in his chart. It's like Capricorn is like, come on, do it yourself, like make things happen, and so it's like sometimes they're a little intolerant of like, why can't you do that? It's like, so it's like, well, that's a gift that the cardinal signs have, and Capricorn is like, ooh, the strongest in that Capricorn and Aries is really like, do it yourself, make things happen. And Capricorn is really creating things in that consistent way that you keep going and you create something lasting, long lasting. Okay. And so that's the kind of energy that you want to get if you've got that there. But whatever house Capricorn is on, okay, you want to say for that area, try to be consistent, try to develop a routine where, say, okay, I can do 38 minutes this many times a week, and try to stick to it. That it gives you self-discipline, and it honors self-discipline. That's Capricorn and Saturn, okay, because they're connected. So, and it's also an area where we tend to, we honor experts, and it's about mentorship, and we value people who really know things. And so it could be an area where you're gonna, well, I'm gonna check in with the more traditional way of doing this. I think I want an expert in this area, or you're gonna be more aware of that for that area. So it's applying an approach. So Mars is going to be activating that area and giving you energy. Mars is our energy. And it's saying, when you play by those rules, you're a little more, you're gonna have the energy to do something. And Mars loves to be in Capricorn. So if you're a natal Mars in Capricorn, just get your routine. Know that you can finish any race successfully. You just be consistent. It's not about the fastest, okay? Because it's the second slowest energy of the whole zodiac, all right? Taurus is the slowest, but it's like consistently making a plan, a routine, and implementing it, honoring real knowledge, becoming an expert at something in that area, or realizing, yeah, I don't know diddly and about this, so I'm going to contact an expert, and you're going to get that give and take. Now, okay, yeah, and another. Oh yeah, I'm watching Ozark right now, and I think Jason Bateman is Capricorn. They're also like hilarious. BB Newirth, uh, watch Lilith and Cheers. Oh my God, Capricorn is like it's like the deadpan delivery. I find Ozark's. I'm laughing hysterically in that. I mean, because it's just like you just throw away these lines, and they're just like. It's just amazing. And also, Capricorns get better with age. Okay. So if you're Capricorn rising, it is your physical body. Pay attention to like your skeleton, your knees. It's like, but you last, even if you get chronic inflammatory diseases, like Capricorns hang in there, and you get better with age mentally because you develop wisdom, usually because you value wisdom. We develop what we value. And if you value expert knowledge, right, then you're going to be more willing to develop that, more eager to develop that. So, and you also, they just keep working. Those are the actors, those are the people who are working. They get better with age, because it's like they do that. So anyway, oh yeah, and Laura Linney's Aquarius. We got Aquarius season. I just realized that. That's beautiful. I love that. I love their dynamic too. I never thought about that. Semi-sextiles are so exciting, so when you see people interact, when their signs are right next to each other, because it's like they're so different, but yet then they make a complete picture. It's kind of like an inconjunct. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Now, all right. So now Venus, since Venus is there, it's softening the Mars. Okay. Because Capricorn can also get so serious. Things are often better than we realize. Capricorn and Saturn can kind of make us like, this isn't going to work out. Or there's like a somberness to it. And so, Venus is there to soften. Yeah. So also remember that it's like to, embrace and take care of yourself. You want to love yourself and love other people when Venus is around. It's the grace, it's the beauty, it's the light touch. And so because it's holding hands, yeah. Um Lovey-dovey with Mars right now. It's a beautiful combination. Okay. Now, the second house. All right, house of values, house of your confidence. It's where we get our confidence. Yeah. And our earned income. Okay. So yeah, you think about money, think about yeah. So when it's in that house, it's going to activate that now. So like we just had Mars and Sag, and you may have been that, can be like, oh, that was about beliefs. That was about honor, like differences. We're like, oh, I believe this and you believe that. And how do you blend the non-blendable? Okay. Capricorn is more traditional in that you really become aware of what society expects of you. Wherever you have Capricorn in your chart, okay, or if you have a strong Saturn, if you have Capricorn in, as planets, you know what is expected. You know what your family wants of you. You know what society. And sometimes there's a respect for traditional ways of doing things. So like I don't know, I was talking about Howard Stern's chart, but just the Capricorn, and somebody was saying, yeah, but he's shocking and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah. And what are you talking about? He was married forever and he's married. It's like to even get married is so traditional nowadays. And then they're like, there's tremendous traditional, there's going to be an area when you have Capricorn, there's going to be something you're doing that is in alignment, and where people go like, oh yeah, okay, that's what people should do. That's going to, there's unless you have just like wild Uranus all over the chart and all this Aquarius, but still there's going to be that area, okay, that Capricorn activates, where you are going to take very seriously the traditional approach and at least really think, maybe I will do that one. Okay. Now, okay, so second house of values. Yeah, like think of like, Elizabeth Warren has all those plans. Now she's a Taurus, but you know what? Second house is ruled by Taurus. Okay. And money. Senator Warren tells us how to value our money and all values. But so when we deal with the house of values, Mars is going to activate that. And Capricorn is going to give you, again, when you're trying to build your confidence and connecting that with how are you going to earn money, the more you can, really think about long term. Capricorn's long term. All right. It's building a huge legacy, really building something over a period of time. Okay. So think about, well, what do you want to be doing? How do you want to be? Are there some, do you want to modify how you earn your money? That will give you, you want to apply the consistent step by step approach. Okay, with that second house. And so, you think about that. Think about your values, think about the money, and, think about uh, going ahead, being consistent, and be patient. All right. Do things that will have a long term, right? Sometimes we're so short sighted, right? That's like Aries. If Mars in Aries enters your second house, it's like, okay, you got to just do something. And it's like, do something really, really fast. But Mars in Capricorn is like, this is where I see myself in 11 years. Or 11 months or 11 days. You know what I mean? Like, think about that. And it's like and then it's like devise the routine and plan to be doing that. Okay. Now, oh, and I didn't show you. Okay. Here is the first house. Okay, and here is the second house. All right, you can use these cards. I mean, I'm going to pull some inspirational messages from this deck for us to enjoy, and but or you can use them as flashcards. Is this if you want to say, hey, where's my Mars right now? Oh, it's in my first house. Oh, it's in my second house. Okay, and it just gives you a visual. All right. Now you've also got, okay, we've got the seventh house is another example. I'm just going to give a few houses and then you can find it in your chart where it is, knowing that it's going to activate that house. Okay. So the seventh house is the one-on-one relationship house. Okay. And this can be professional relationships. This can be romantic. This can be creative collaborations. All right. But it's the one-on-one intimate. Okay. So Sag was just there, and that can highlight differences. We're like, whoa, we are so different, but you embrace the foreign, the different, whatever is most different from you. And you try to blend the non-blendable, or you say, okay, we are really different, and this is how we're going to coexist. Now, with Mars and Capricorn there, again, it's a little bit more, you're going to really want to work with, like this is also the house of consulting. It's like, you're going to hire like a lawyer, you're going to hire somebody who is like, you're going to go for the tried and true. Like, this is a serious, I want to see the degrees. What do you have? Are you a real expert? You're going to desire, you're also going to desire some stability. You're going to want to trust your partners. You're going to want to see them. They can be, these have these amazingly genius ideas. It's not that they're duds. I mean, they can be absolutely like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do next? But you feel safe in the relationship, and that the Capricorn is like that there is an adult quality. Okay. And it's like, yeah, I have a close friend, and she's as wild and eccentric and as Uranian Aquarian as you can get. I mean, you can see her from, 2 miles away, because I mean, she really stands out in a crowd. And yet she married a very stable, a professor, is a tenured professor. There's like a stable and much older than she is. And it's like every other part of her life is totally wild, but that partner is a Capricorn partner. So it's like, Capricorn creates that desire to, like, you got to be able to count on somebody, wherever it is in your chart, or you're going to at least, and it's the kind of person that you're like, it's people, when you say a profession or whatever that's a Capricorn, you're like, oh yes, I'm, I've studied the skeleton, and I'm, or like, I'm a doctor and I'm a lawyer. It's like, oh, that's a good job. Yes, that's respectable. Oh, your husband's a professor. Oh, that's great. You're a professor. Okay, that's great. It's like, it's something. It's not like, oh, an astrologer. You're like, that's not Capricorn. Okay. So anyway, that's how all the all the elements can go together. And that's how we start to understand the chart. Okay, that's why we break it down into these parts. Okay, so all right, so think about All right, yeah. So think about that, and I'm gonna do a separate video where I really take it around, all the 12 houses, and we might do a little bit more depending on how much time we have. But that gives you an idea. Get to know your chart. It's up, okay, this is the free will part. Do your part. All right, because it's personal. I can't tell you how it's going to be personal. Yeah, people kind of say, oh, but it's like the same. It's like you have all these Aries people, and then it's like, or you have all this, and it's like, oh, I say fearless. It's like, well, yeah, it's what does fearless mean for you? Okay, that's the element. And then it's like, I thought of the queen. Okay, the queen has Capricorn energy, and there's a strong sense of duty. Okay, where you're going to do what you should do, whether you like it or not, whether it's a burden. Think of like thinking of a Gilbert and Sullivan song about the sense of duty. Yeah, you could, yeah, Google Kevin Kline. Oh my God, I'm hearing this. Kevin Kline doing Gilbert and Sullivan. It's like, anyway, the sense of duty. Okay, it's also it's a British thing that they were talking about. Now, of course, when you look at her chart, okay, she's going to be queen. Like that's what was going to happen to her, right? That was her journey. That's her journey. So, when you look at it, it's not as if you have her chart and then you look at next to a chart of somebody can have a very almost exact chart, right? Similar chart, but maybe is growing up in Appalachia, right? And is extremely, poor, all right? And you're like, well, geez, that person's not going to become queen. How, what's this astrology thing? It's symbolic. So a wonderful, Jupiter at the top of the chart, or you can sort of see, oh, this is probably when she's gonna, this is something big. If this is a possibility for her to become queen, ooh, we got to look at this time. But we can look at that time in that chart for that person in Appalachia, still say, you know what, this is going to be a really big time for that person. But we have to honor the cultural imprint, the cultural surroundings, the socioeconomic. We have to bring all that in. That's the symbolic. It's like it's the same symbolism, and it will be a high water. It will be like we can say, oh, this is going to be a high water mark, right, for both of them, right? But we have to have those details. That's why it's personal to you. All right. So it will be, what that means for you in your community. All right. Whether it's like, oh, all of a sudden, you become, mayor of your community, or you like, in your family, you're very, very shy. And then all of a sudden, you're for some reason in charge of the family, for different reasons. So it's the symbolism, and then it's personal when you use it for you. And that's why it's important. And that's how to look at it. Okay. Okay, now, all right. So all right, let's do the wonderful, do the air oracle card spread. And we did the new moon spread last week. Okay. And I was so excited because Gemini, which, yeah, I got a lot of Gemini, we pulled Gemini. So that means, I always say, hey, Aquarians, yeah, you got to step up to the plate right now, big time. Okay. And Saturn is in Aquarius, which means, yeah, while Saturn is in Aquarius, whatever sign Saturn is in, that sign is hugely elevated. We really need you. Okay. We need the alternative original thoughts. We need the science, technology, these wonderful vaccines, all those innovation coming. We need you. But especially with the sun in Aquarius, yeah. Okay. Now we got Gemini though, so that means, yeah, we need you too. So that's one reason I'm choosing to do the air oracle card spread, because two of the three air signs are hugely elevated right now. Okay. So we all want to be connecting to those. All right. So we're going to do we're going to do the air oracle card spread. And I will say, oh, you know what? Sagittarius was also elevated during the new moon spread. Okay. So calling all Sages, yeah, you got to step up. So that means, and we just had Mars and Sag. So just remember, blending the non-blendable, or figuring out how we can, all work together. That's really important. I just watched Rick Steves. I watch him all the time. Travel, Sag is like, go to places you've never been before. And I know it's hard to physically travel right now. Well, I watch Rick Steves. I go to a different country every day. Well, he's been spending a few days in one country, but it's like, do that. I watch Emily in Paris. I love that. And it's like, and that follows a character who's like she was from Chicago, and then she goes and it's like a whole new world to her. So it's like, that's Sagittarius. Put yourself into a foreign environment however you can. all right? Because it helps you to grow. All right. And it reminds you, and it's like so American, right? That's our strength. It makes us stronger, right? To be around people who speak different languages, who are from different countries. That's the strength of this country, right? And it makes all of us stronger on all levels. So, yeah, okay, yeah, we bring in the Sag. Okay. All right. We're doing the air oracle spread. Okay. So remember, air thoughts are things. All right. And if you're watching this video or if you're listening to me on the radio, you're part of the group of Through the Lens of Astrology, okay? Because listening is very powerful. And, when we do things together, when we get unified intention, right? When you meditate as a group, when you get a unified thought, it grows. It's more powerful. So I do these messages to help bring the group together. So yeah, we're all different. We're all doing different things, but we can have unified intention. And then we go into the world spreading the beautiful love and harmony and all the whatever messages come up for us, right? And that increases the energy of that. So you're very powerful. Don't think that you're not powerful because, I'm one person, I'm watching this, I'm listening to this. Thoughts are things, okay? And I'm part of the group. I'm not above the group. So I'm taking in these messages, okay? That's why, hey, we're all, yeah. That's the Aquarius. That's the Aquarius energy. We're all different, and we celebrate that by sharing our uniqueness with the group. So the group benefits, but we retain our individuality. Okay. So that's really beautiful. And oh, you know what? I have this written down right here. I thought of this where I was watching you. I do like dark comedies. If you see that, that is about a couple, yeah, they kind of murder people, but they found each other, and they created a team in the episode that I just saw, and it was pretty funny because it made me feel, oh, the team that celebrates the individual, and it's like, yeah, that's an original team for sure. Okay, absolutely. So obviously, we want to be high-minded and all that, but still, I just thought of, well, that's an Aquarian team. It's like you can be a team and work together at the same time, retain your individuality. You just have to allow each person to do that. Okay, so here we go. All right, so here we go. All right, what will help us make more connections and better connections? Okay, and that's very Gemini. How are we going to connect people? Okay, there we go. Oh, how are we going to make better connections? We're going to embrace Virgo energy. Look at that. Well, Virgo is mutable, as is Gemini. Okay. All right. So, well, you know what that means? We got to bend like a willow. We got to be flexible. Yeah. And so, and how can we make connections? Well, this is understanding the mechanics of something. This is how things really work, right? So this is not the big picture brush strokes of Sagittarius. Okay. These are the tiny little, I'm gonna, do the little dots in a George Seurat painting. Okay. And I'm going to say, oh, there's a yellow dot. There's a red dot. Okay. And so Virgo is, yeah, that clock. You want to look at all the tiny little things and, oh, if I oil this, okay, then it's going to really work. So if we want to make connections, we have to look at the smallest parts of something. We break things down into the smallest parts. Okay. And so we look at the details. I tell you, I notice some details. I'll notice oh, that person has this color fingernail polish, and ooh, the tie is this color today. Or I'll notice, oh, look at in the background. So it's kind of in order to connect, we need to notice the details, and we need to understand how things work, because then we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? Because if we're oh my gosh, this isn't working. Let's figure out why, because it may not be such a big deal. Maybe, well, did you wind it? It's like, oh, I forgot to wind, obviously it's an old fashioned watch, but it's oh yeah, okay, wind it. Did you plug it in? It's you know what I mean? It's don't panic. look at all, take a good look at it. Wow, how can we make the connections? And also the world needs you. So this is honor, be of service, be of service. I think of, oh, you know what? I think of Carol King. She just had a birthday yesterday. You know what? I can't believe I hadn't looked up her chart. She has 3 planets in Aquarius, and boy, is she one of a kind and a beautiful, yeah. And she's, oh, I know. And her north node is in Virgo. That's a Virgo destiny, right? And this is Virgo so important right now. It's Regulus. It's let's, find ways to be of service, and let's be of ways to like honor the environment and nature, right? And climate change. And she's a big environmentalist. And I was talking about the Richard Gere documentary, Climate Emergency. And I did just see Carol King on Morning Joe, and she was talking about, well, we don't have to develop technology. How did she say it? I think I wrote it down. Um, it's like, oh, we have to develop carbon storing, technology. Well, trees are that technology. So let's not forget, like, that's why it's like, let's just remember that, how important that is. And so that's a beautiful, Aquarius is reform. Virgo is finding ways to be of service and honoring the environment. It's Virgo in general is very elevated right now because of Regulus. So let's make the connections of how everything goes together, right? The environment, we're not detached from the environment. We are connected. Okay. We are connected. All right. Woo. All right. Now, okay. Now this second one is just going to be, this is for all the air. Okay. What energy is going to help us honor our thoughts? If you've got air in your chart, yeah. Okay. You got to really honor, what are you thinking? Write it down. At least you need to really, because it's really important, because that's a gift. All right. All right. In your chart. And it means it's really important too. Okay. Here we go. So let's honor. Yeah, let's honor your thoughts. Here we go. Yeah, Libra too. I haven't mentioned Libra. Yeah, Kamala Harris, Libra, beautiful Libra, Gwyneth Paltrow. So that's air. That's the give and take. Okay, that's the. Okay, Gemini making connections. Aquarius is like light bulb. Okay, and here we go. Whoa, all right, we're gonna take that one. How can we help to honor our thoughts? Neptune. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay, that means we have to give ourselves some quiet time so we can hear our thoughts. That's Neptune. A psychic gateway has, yeah, okay. Quiet your mind and connect to your guides. Honor what you hear. It says it on the card. Okay. So it's, I like meditation, meditate, but you know what? You can just go in nature, spend some time. It's like, just, have a sip a cup of tea, whatever, and do something where you can hear your thoughts. And then, yeah, honor them. Oh, that's beautiful. That's always beautiful. And often when you have air, in your chart, or there's air, it's like our thoughts go, we have racing thoughts, right? And then and then we get obsessed with like, oh, I need to pick up the milk, or blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, okay. Meditation is good for saying that's okay. And we're going to now go to the next thought. So then we can allow for the other thoughts, right, to surface. That's why we do that. So we don't get hung up on thoughts that maybe drain us, right? Yeah. Okay. Now we've got, oh yeah, what will help us create our most independent, original thinking, right? Like maybe something that's going to help to just like see something in an even more exciting way. Oh, hello, Taylor Swift. Okay. Shake it off, people. All right. I love this. I was thinking a lot. Well, I think about her all the time, but I was really thinking about her in the last couple of days. Okay. Water is going to help us. Water is about feelings. Connect with our feelings. And also it's saying we can just like, go play that song, shake it off. Okay. I almost was playing that song yesterday. All right. It's, dance it off, do whatever you can. It's like, feel that if you have a thought and you're stuck in it with an obsessive thought, how can we develop our most original thinking? Make sure that we have these activities to unravel the excess negative thinking, right? We don't have to be stuck in that. It's like, I like to dance, get up and dance. I like to meditate. When you get stuck in that, water off a duck's back. Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Taylor. All right. Um, that I think is a perfect message. All right for this. Okay. All right. Now, okay. Let's see. Here we go. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay, so now we have 3. Now we're going to do 3 more. Okay. So how can we develop how can we what will help us diplomatically assert our ideas? Because you probably have a lot of ideas. You're like, well, how am I going to present this? How am I going to do that? Okay, let's embrace this energy and we will find a way it will help us to diplomatically assert our ideas. Yeah, okay. Ah, there's one. Okay, there we go. Okay, all right. Woo! A trine. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, a trine is so Libra, so diplomatic. Just this aspect. This is a type of aspect. It's a harmonious aspect, okay, in your chart. And so this is like a give and take. This connects the same element and the same modality. So these air signs, okay, if you've got like, Gemini, Aquarius, that creates a trine. If you've got Aquarius and Libra, that creates a trine, so it's they go together, so that just means really honor the give and take, assert your opinion, and make sure you hear what the other person is saying so that they feel connected to you. A trine is a harmonious connection. Allow for that. Allow to take in what the other person is saying. Okay. And just think of, okay, assertive, not aggressive, grace and elegance. And no matter what they come at you with, even if they come at you with anger and with whatever, hear them and then say, okay, this is what I heard you say. All right. And then you can try to do that. But this is a light touch. A trine is saying that a lighter touch is the way to go. All right. So that's going to help us. How can we help to really convey our ideas with a little more diplomatic assertiveness? Okay. A lighter touch. All right. That's nice. All right, and Venus in Capricorn, that even helps Venus in Cap because Venus in Capricorn is a little more of a traditional approach. It's, Mary Kaswani always said, well, that's not really like Venus in Capricorn. They may not be the most affectionate in public, depending on what's going on in their chart, but like, because it's like there's a properness. There's like, let's not have scenes in public, but they'll be totally affectionate at home because it's appropriate to be yourself at home, right? But we have like, there are social guidelines. Capricorn says, oh, but there are guidelines, right? And you kind of like to follow them with that. So it's like that Venusian approach with a trine. Okay. Okay, so we had that. What is going to help? Now, we did do something to help us with independent thinking. Now, what about just some new ideas? What energy, if we embrace, is just going to like really just help bring in some wild new ideas? Shake things up a little bit. What's going to shake us up a little bit? Because sometimes we get stuck, right? Aquarius is a fixed sign. Aquarians can get very stuck in their thinking. Geminis are kind of, oh, I can have both thoughts at one time. And Libra's like, this is what I think, but what do you think? Because that's going to modify what I think. Just because they want to have that synthesis. Oh my gosh. Okay, we got Mars reversed. All right. So what's going to help with new ideas? All right. That means we must assert ourselves. Don't keep your ideas to yourself. That's you probably are thinking something that if you have a great solution, some kind of creative solution, this is, yeah, now there's conflict. I'll tell you, we get this card reversed quite a few times in this group. So yeah, there's some conflict that some of us are dealing with. Okay, that's okay. We're different. Okay. But this is saying, yeah, there's conflict. They're different. But we got to face it head on. So we face it with the harmonious Venusian actions of the trine. Okay. We assert ourselves, but this says, yeah, don't keep your ideas to yourself right now or your communication. It's not, these conflicts are not just going to magically disappear. All right. So we are going to have to assert ourselves, and there is conflict. So look around. It could be in your family. It could be, in this group. It could be in your neighborhood. Who knows? But yeah, don't shy away from conflict when you get Mars reversed. Okay, and air is the perfect. But you got to use your words to solve the conflict. Okay, because this is an air spread, so it's not about you've got to necessarily like do this right away, although that's going to be the next one about how we're going to do it. But, or it's let people know through words, uh, this is what I think about this, and this is what I want to do. Okay. Now, how can we help with nuanced thinking? Oh, yeah, the duality. Yeah. Okay. Because yeah, it's all about duality and nuance. Gemini is so dual. So how can we help us to embrace, oh, you know what, we're going to take it. Okay, so how can we embrace first house and eighth house reversed? Okay, that's what popped out. Okay, what's going to help with our nuanced thinking to allow for duality? Well, these are two very different houses. This is the first house, is the most forward moving. That's the fearless house of this is who I am house. And then the eighth house is the most intense house, where it's like it's the house of deep, profound transformation. And it deals with it, definitely the other comes into play. It's like it's joint resources. We think of other people's money, but there can be, you know, it's not, and it's a water house. It's Scorpio. So it's like there's there's secrets with this eighth house. Okay. So the nuanced thinking is to, honor, like allow for what needs to be secret to remain secret, but also you need to be able to go forward, and you can have both. This says honor, and look, we even pulled two cards for the nuanced Gemini. Isn't that funny? It's a fine line. That's the nuance of it. Okay. So you don't want to be so pushing forward that then you encroach on someone else's privacy, right? Or you don't like allow people to have their secrets and then you can have yours, okay? And that allow for the deep personal transformation. I always say with that, with the eighth house energy, the Scorpio energy, you share what you are ready to share when you are ready to share. You have personal transformation, and then that you and then when you're okay with that, you turn that into public healing. It's something Oprah Winfrey does. Hey, she's an Aquarius. I mean, she transformed my life early on. I mean, the way that she talked about a lot of taboo subjects. She has a Mercury Pluto in her chart. If you have Mercury in Scorpio, or you got Mercury Pluto, you can really dig deep and uncover, shine a light on taboo subjects and uncover hidden truths. And she shared so many things about she shares so many things about herself, and highlighted, I mean, decades ago, sexual abuse. And so it's when you're ready, the eighth house is share what share your personal pain to turn it into public healing. So this is like, ooh, that's amazing. Like these, such the nuance is needed just for these two cards for that. Oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, now we're gonna have one more card because we got to turn our ideas into action. Sometimes when we're doing so much thinking, right? We're like, and I'll tell you, I'm like this. I got a stellium in Gemini. If you've got a lot of air in your chart, you've got the Aquarius, you got the Gemini, you got the Libra. It can be where you think you've done something, and it's as if you've done it. This happens to me all the time. It's like I didn't do that because I had the thought, because thoughts are so real. They're especially real to air signs. So, check in, make sure you do your to-do list. But so this is going to be a card to say, what's going to help us turn our ideas into action? Yeah. Okay. Oh, you know what? And yeah, you know what? To highlight some people, Elon Musk has a lot of Gemini and Aquarius in the chart. And I just thought, you know, a lot of people that I often see people like, oh, let's share this tweet that Elon Musk did, and people are like having such a hard time, like they feel like I feel like there's a lot of criticism about his communication, and I was like, you know what, hello, when Gemini meets Aquarius, you're going to have absolute one of a kind communication, and it's going to be, and it's all about the words. It's like you combine Gemini and Aquarius, no one is going to speak the way you speak, and there is a detachment with that energy, and it's, so I just find that really fascinating. But it's absolute original, one of a kind thinking with that communication. So you got to honor, and if you have Aquarius anywhere in your chart, you got to find your own way. Okay. And by you finding your own way, you wake everyone else up, you inspire everyone to at the very least question their cultural imprint. Even if they don't join you, you're like, hey, I'm going this way. They're like, wow, okay. Do I want to go that way? It's like, at least you're going to question and they're like, yeah, I think I do. And then they may join you, or they may be like, nah, I'm going to stick with what I already know, and which is totally valid. Okay. But that's the beautiful gift of Aquarius. So you got to go, honor your own originality, and you will inspire others to at least think about uh, what could be a really alternative path for them from what they're used to. Okay, yeah, and Amy Klobuchar. Oh, she's one of my favorite politicians, senator from Minnesota, and she's got Sun and Moon in Gemini. I think she's an amazing communicator. Um, I mean, I just love the way she communicates. So, anyway, so this is like, Gemini, and she makes amazing connections. I mean, she'll bring in like dark money and everything, and like, I mean, it's amazing. She'll just like bring it all into a conversation. You're like, wow, she just connected, 7 different things there, um which is kind of incredible. So that's Gemini. It's like being able to like, you know pull from a lot of different areas and then wrap it all up in one bow. Okay, all right, so here we've got oh yeah, we got to turn these ideas into action. Okay, see, all my Gemini, I just keep talking. All right, let's turn our ideas into action. Amen. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Jupiter. All right, Jupiter's beautiful. Jupiter is fire. Jupiter's connected to Sagittarius, and Sagittarius was elevated in the new moon spread. Okay, new moon Aquarius spread that we did. Okay, Jupiter, that means if we want to turn our ideas into action, we have to believe that we can. Jupiter is optimism. It's hope. We all got to have a lot of hope right now. A lot of Capricorn, as I said, we can get a little more serious, all right, then, and we don't think things are going as well as they are. So we got to embrace the hope, the optimism, connect to our beliefs, right? Because that's Jupiter as well. And, and go ahead and take those actions where you, you can't, you can never completely predict an outcome, right? So you have to have, this is take a leap of faith. Okay, when you get Jupiter, say, what kind of action are you supposed to take? You got to take a leap of faith. You got to like connect to your belief system, so it's based on something, and then okay, and then you try that, and and then and but you are supposed to go ahead and move forward. So go ahead and implement, because Mars is in Capricorn. Say, okay, I'm going to do the 38 minutes or the 38 hours this week, okay, or over the next 2 weeks or over the next 3 weeks. It's like, get your routine to implement what you're trying to do. So it doesn't have to be all the time. It doesn't have to be, but implement it in that way, but do it. Have the faith and hope to do it. Okay. And then we're also going to recover that way. That also means, hey, some of us in the group, I mean, I kind of connect to this. Whew, it's like, we got to recover. I could use a little more sleep right now. I could get a little more meditation. So if we want to turn our ideas into action, we need to be well rested. Our minds need meditation, rests the mind. The way that the sleep rejuvenates the body. Of course, sleep rejuvenates the mind too, but we need to like, do all of that. I can do a lot more of that. I'll tell you, I'm not well rested right now, but So I'm going to listen to this. And yeah, and yeah, that's a beautiful message, but to have the faith and the hope, right? And again, how are we going to turn our ideas into action? We have to work with people who are different from us, right? They're going to have different ideas, but we can find a synthesis, we can find a schedule, right? Where you can be, working with people who are, a little different. Yeah. And oh, Marilyn Monroe is a very famous Gemini. Yeah. And I'll tell you, she she was not valued for her intelligence, and yet it's so clear when you hear her speak and when you follow her, um how intelligent she was, and how much, of the mind. Whenever you have the mind, I mean, whenever you have the Gemini and all those things, you've got to really, to know that person, you have to understand what that person is thinking. Okay. You have to have that conversation and really listen to what they say, because that is the easiest mode of how they're going you know, to connect. I mean, and here she was married to genius Arthur Miller. It's one of my favorite playwrights. And I'll tell you, watch The Misfits if you want to understand. It's like you really get um uh just not only the genius of Arthur Miller, but then you get, the genius of Marilyn Monroe. Okay, just go watch The Misfits. It's amazing. Um, wow. And that we need to really connect and honor people. All right, listen to them. What are they telling you? Don't just assume you know what they're thinking or you know what they need. Okay, there has to be more of that. I think this is what you need. And then you have to say, well, I think this is what I need. Okay. And then let's try it. We tried it your way. Can we try it my way now? It's like, can we maybe do a few hours your way, 2 hours mine, and then 1 hour your? Like, let's come up with a give and take plan. That's also very much with the air. So one, I'm going to take a picture of this beautiful spread, and this, and I'll put it on. Well, I'm going to post this video, and then I'm going to put it on my Facebook and my Instagram. And so it's a way to check in with these images and the messages to help you really connect with the beautiful mental energy of the air, right? Of the Aquarius and the Gemini and the Libra. Yeah, those are the air signs. And to honor that in yourself. Okay. Now, a couple of things, okay, with our remaining minutes. Oh yeah, a great air video. Watch Sign of the Times. Harry Styles is flying throughout that. That's air. Okay. So like you can even like watch a work of art like that to then bring in, um to make you feel like, oh, that's air. Watch people, you know. Yeah, you got Harry Styles and that. You got, Peter Pan flying. It's like you can like engage with art that then can, oh yeah, okay, air. So you're feeling it on a visceral level. Okay, because that also honors the ideas. Okay. So all right, let's look at, let me see. Oh yeah. Well, I definitely use music to transmute your energy. Okay. Anytime you feel you've had too much of one of your energy, meditation is great. Okay. But also, do your music. I mean, I've just discovered some new music, and I was watching oh my gosh, the Bleachers. And I was going to say, what was the song? Oh my God, it's the most amazing video. But it was as if he was channeling David Byrne when he was dancing. It's like, but yet it's one of a kind. It's like, it's amazing. And it just got me like totally, I was kind of in a funk, and I was just like completely transported. And so, and then I'm watching a lot of, um, Alana Hayam is that beautiful musical group that she has with her sisters. I mean, and I'm totally mesmerized by some of this music. And it's like the simplicity. It's like just find what speaks to you, but like movement. And if you I like to try to physicalize things. And when I do workshops, I try to help you physicalize your astrology. And so maybe that's why I love dance so much, but like watch the videos. And then when you're watching it, try to like allow them to inspire, like find like how they move, and if and get that into your body, because then it gets you, you then are transported, and it helps to transmute any kind of negative thinking or negative feeling. It helps to like, ooh, okay, we're going to move it through the body. All right. And yeah, I looked her up. I think she's Sagittarius from what I just looked her up. And that's like, oh my gosh. And there's like a buoyancy when she's like, I want to see Licorice Pizza. She's in that. Um, and some of the videos are even directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. They're absolute works of art. So, but I'm always saying it's like, find, constantly just explore new music, new videos, new things, new types of meditation. I love TM, but they're going to be things that are going to really work for you to transmute and unravel. Okay. Especially if you're getting too much. And hey, you know what? We got to shake it off. Yeah. So that means we definitely, yeah, that applies to everybody in the group. We definitely want to be able to find these ways to transmute the energy. And I mean, yeah, just watch Shake It Off. And that is going to that's one of the messages, right? It's up to each person to find the personal. I can make these recommendations, and then you have to find the video that speaks to you. Okay, so all I can do is share what works for me, because it might work for you specifically, but if it doesn't, take the symbolism of, oh, okay. All right, I'm going to, and think about if air is flying, just kind of imagine yourself, flying to, like, if you want to connect to an energy, or like, think about Aquarius is unique, and make some original, unique, movements, so that you feel. So it's like you want to physicalize and connect to some of these things. I find it. And then I find, the meditation as well. So I really like that. Okay, now let's look at oh yeah, Black History Month. Okay. Um, I did want to bring up um, this song that, I've said Do the Right Thing's one of the best movies ever made. I saw it when it first came out, and I was just like jaw on the floor. And then I resaw it recently, and I was like, it's even better than I remembered. It's like really one of the all-time greatest, all about what happens when we don't even attempt to blend the non-blendable. Everybody is different, and nobody was getting along, and it erupts in horrible violence. So we have to try. It's like we have to agree that we're not going to get along. But I didn't know this. I saw the commentary. I saw a little special. It was like a 20th edition, um and Fight the Power by Public Enemy, and Chuck D was interviewed, and he was talking about, because it was Chuck D and Flava Flav wrote, and he was talking about, oh yeah, Spike Lee asked for an anthem, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so that, yeah, no pressure there. And so he wrote, they wrote, Fight the Power, gave it to Spike Lee, and then he was like, well, I didn't know it was going to be used throughout the movie. And it was like, because it is like it's an anthem. And I didn't even like, once I heard that word, I was like, oh yeah, of course it's an anthem. I was just thinking it's like a very powerful piece of music. It's very Aquarian. Okay. So this is perfect, to combine the energy right now. But Aquarius is about reform. Okay. How do we reform unjust laws, right? Because we're not allowed to break laws, but we can reform laws if we feel that they don't live up to, you know, what's required of humanitarian beliefs, right? So, and it's like, it's a beautiful, inspirational song. I mean, and it's so Aquarian. I just have to read a little bit of this. It says, okay, we are the same. No. Okay. It was like, okay, yeah, we're the same. You always hear that. It's like, no, we're not the same. Okay. Totally shocking. Totally Aquarian. Aquarian is saying, absolutely, everyone is different. Okay. But because we don't know the game, what we need is awareness. We can't get careless. Okay. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this is a beautiful song about reform and what needs to happen. And it's really saying, how can we be successful? How can we be successful citizens? How can we be a successful part of a group if we don't have all the information, right? If not everybody knows the game. We need truth. We need knowledge to make informed decisions. That's what that song is about. It's saying, and he was speaking, to the community saying, hey, we need awareness. We're being careless right now. We have to have absolute truth, absolute knowledge to make informed decisions to allow for the reform that is needed. And I mean, and it's like what's that going on right now? It's amazing. This was decades ago. And it's like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. I'm in Louisville right now, and that's, was is I mean, forever going to be a huge thing. I mean, we cannot forget this stuff. Okay. So it's like, but anyway, I was just like, I don't know, I was really inspired by that, and I heard it in a new way. Because obviously it's a super famous song. Everybody knows the song. But after I heard Anthem, I was like, oh, let me listen to it with that in mind, because that's a gift of Aquarius energy. All right. Of really elevating something that can inspire to be active and to reform some energy. Okay, yeah, but I just was really moved by that. Now, I also want to, hey, we did a Mercury retrograde spread. Mercury's going forward. And, but remember, the energy, Pisces was elevated for the Mercury retrograde spread when it was like, what energy do we need to reinforce? Which is universal love, sensitivity, meditation, bringing people together. And it's also Pisces themselves need to recommit. And we have about 11 more days in Aquarius. We're going to enter into Pisces. So it's like Pisces are, keep recommitting, reinforcing right now, because it's going to be your turn. You're going to be stepping up to the plate. Yeah, in 11 days, we need you big time. So, that is right. And we've got Jupiter in Pisces, which loves to be in Pisces. So, we're entering, some very sensitive, compassionate, the highest level of consciousness energy, right? So we want to take advantage of all the genius epiphanies of the Aquarius and get our little steps and little hooves in a row, right? With all of the beautiful um, energy with that. Okay. And we've got that. Let me just see if there's anything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Jamie Raskin, I just saw that. Well, I'm going to have to talk about that one next week, but it's absolutely amazing. Representative Jamie Raskin, his professor, knows the Constitution backwards and forwards. And just because it's a Capricorn mentorship, he said, everyone knows one thing. Sorry about that. Everyone knows one thing. And my turn came up, right? And we also need to be thinking about that. All this energy in Capricorn. What do you know? What do you know? Okay. And share it. Yeah. It's really, really important when you combine Aquarius and Capricorn energy. And I think, yeah. So think about, what do you know, and share it. And it's all an experiment. Stephen Breyer was even talking about, he's like, hey, this is an experiment, but we got to do the best we can. We got to, embrace laws. But so share what you know and honor reform. And it's an experiment, but it's a wonderful one. And through that, we can continue to make it better. Okay. Well, that's our show. Until next time, enjoy and embrace transformation.